Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Zane, better known as the King Bahamut, and welcome back to Let's Play Donkey Kong Country for the Game Boy Advance. In the last episode, we finished up the final world, Chimp Caverns. We have come a long way on our adventure. We started out in the jungle, went through some mines, up through a forest valley, all the way up to a mountain at the tippy top, through a dangerous factory, and finally through some chimpy caverns. But in this episode, we have one last thing to do before we're done with this game, and that is go to the Gangplank Galleon and fight the final boss. Our final boss is King K Rool, Big Fat King Crocodile. He's pretty straightforward. Whenever he throws his crown, you just jump over it and bop him on the head. Afterwards, he will run across the ship, and you just have to jump over him. And do that 3 times. And all the while listening to some kick-ass music. I love this song, as most people do. Whoa, that's not good. We're already down 1 hit. After 4 hits, he changes up his pattern. He will jump 3 times, causing cannonballs to fall from the sky. Just jump through the cannonballs, and then whop him on the head again. And then he'll jump and cause more cannonballs to fall. Now, in the GBA version, this segment is kind of a joke, because if you stand all the way in the corner, cannonballs won't reach you in this segment. So you can just completely ignore this. Pop him on the head again. And now, it's time for dodging more cannonballs. I almost jumped at a bad angle there. Jump through the cannonballs 2nd time. Cannonballs are a little easier to dodge in this version of the game. In the Super Nintendo version, they could potentially be a little difficult. But anyways, pop him on the head again, and it's time for the credits. We have coding by Claptrap, characters by Crusha, coloring by Critter, concept by Clump, and Commander King K Rool. The end? Well, considering Commander is not an actual position in game design, no it's not. I jumped straight into him, and not on top of him. That was stupid. Well, luckily, a nice thing is that if you die after that fake credits scene, you'll start right from this portion of the thing. K Rool is now jumping. He's now trying to crush you by jumping over you. He can be a little tricky to dodge, but not too difficult. And then pop him on the head 1 last time, and that's the game. We get 1 last hidden camera, 1 last giant banana. We get our game saved. What a player, DK, my lad. You beat the Kremlings and found everything. You're nearly as good as I used to be. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is Donkey Kong Country. And we get a DKC tradition, which is the enemy list off. I already told you what the names of all these enemies are. We have Critters, Naughties, Crushers, Clumps, Claptraps, Rock Crocs, Necky, Mini Necky, Zingers, Crashes, aka Critters in a Minecart, Manky Kongs, that don't know, that are dumb, Armies, Slippers. Bite size. Squidges. Chomps that want to eat squidges, but don't want to have to deal with a bunch of squidges. Chomps Jr. Clambo. Croctopus. The bosses. Very naughty. Master Neki. Queen Bee. Really naughty. Dumb Drum. Master Neki Sr. And of course... oh, never mind. The good guys. Rambi. Espresso. Not espresso, that's coffee. Squawks. Winky. On guard. And the Kongs. Now that's all sorted, I'm going back to sleep.
You lazy ape! You're getting too old for this! You've done a great job, guys! Yeah, wicked man! This sea air is doing me no good at all!
Make yourselves at home.
K Rool!
Right, I have had enough of this. It's time for me to get going. So you Kongs better get off my boat, or else...
Or else what?
I'll destroy DK Island! Clearly you've never played Donkey Kong 64.
You're bluffing, Lizard Face. I don't think he is, Sugar. Let's get off this manky ship. Like you said, you've clearly never played Donkey Kong 64. I'm too old for this. See ya. I'm bailing out, dudes.
We will meet again, K Rool.
I'm out of here.
Let's jump into the water.
I'll be back!
And K Rool buggers off. Meanwhile, Diddy is riding on guard. Donkey Kong is rolling on a steel keg in the water and is far away from people. And the rest of the Kongs are just kind of standing around in the water.
Call that an ending? Looks like a cheap stunt setting up the story for the sequel.
And as the sun sets, our adventure finally comes to a close. We did it! We finished the game! And we got all of the things along the way. That, ladies and gentlemen, is Donkey Kong Country, the GBA port. I have always been a fan of the Donkey Kong Country series since I was young. It started, actually, with the second game in the series, Diddy's Conquest, which I probably will do an LP of that at some point. But, yeah, this version of the game in particular, I would argue, has just as much personal significance to me as the original Super Nintendo version, and in some cases even more, because this was the version that I played by far the most. I did have access to the Super Nintendo version through emulators, but I didn't play it as much, for whatever reason. Mostly because around the time I was growing up, the GBA port of that game was what was going around and what was available. And I remember I picked it up, and it was a game I played a lot, and I also had a lot of trouble with it. And again, I think that this is the best of the versions that you can play, personally. You know, it has a little bit more content in the form of the hidden cameras. It has a bunch of other, like, little side modes that will, that I have yet to go over, but we'll get around to it. It also controls a little bit better. Yeah, it doesn't look as good, and the music definitely doesn't sound as good, which doesn't mean all that much because the original Donkey Kong Country soundtrack is pretty damn good, so, I mean, and that still shines through with the game, but honestly, like, the original Super Nintendo version is a great game. And it looks a lot better, and its atmosphere is a lot more sharp, I'll say, because it looks better and because it sounds better. But honestly, if I'm going back to Donkey Kong Country, I'm going back to this game because the original just it's kind of lacking in content. Anyways, we have completed the game 101%. Took just under 4.5 hours to do, and we have unlocked Hero Mode. I'll go over that in a second, but yeah, that's a game completed. All rights, including the copyrights of game, scenario, music, and program reserved by Nintendo. Game by Rare. Back when Nintendo and Rare were on good terms. So yeah, we're done with the game, right? Well, not exactly. See, I would end the part here, but if we did that, this would be a extremely short video, because it would basically have just been the final boss against K Rool. So instead, I'm going to combine what would normally be bonus episode material in with this episode. So let's quickly go over all of the extraneous modes. First off, we have DK attack here. This is basically a time attack for each of the stages in the game. Your goal in this mode is to run through the stages, collect as many items as possible, while also getting through the stage as quickly as you can. So grab all kinds of tokens, and grab these little time bonus icons here as well. You get a little bit of extra bonuses depending on not just how fast you clear the stage, but also if you have both Kongs with you, and if you have an animal buddy in stages where you can actually have animal buddies. So as we're finishing this stage with just Diddy, we're not going to get the Kong bonus, but we are going to get the buddy bonus. So we get our base score, time tallies up, a buddy bonus for having an animal, and we get a total of 120,000 points or so. And that's worth an A rank. You'll be graded from A to, I believe it's D through A rank, and then S rank, which is the absolute best time. It's a fun little distraction, and considering how kind of fun it is to go fast in this game, it's a worthy challenge, but it's not something I feel like you're gonna spend a whole lot of time on, especially because there's no real reward for doing everything on it. We also have extras, which in this case allows you to play through the 2 extra mini games. We have Funky's Fishing here, and basically you have to do, this is basically just a score attack version of the Funky's Fishing minigame. Your goal here is to get as many points as possible. Interestingly enough, as you progress through this version of the minigame, you'll see a little level thing up in the corner. The more points you get, you'll increase the level of at which you're playing, and as you do, the game will add more enemies And in some cases, you'll have enemies from the real game, like Croctopus and Chomps Jr. Although no Chomps, as far as I can tell, which is a little bit of a disappointment. I want to hook a big old tigerfish. But, again, not really much going on here. And also we have Candy's Dance Studio. You can play through Candy's Dance Studio. The tracks are taken from the actual game, but the beats are completely randomized. What buttons you have to press for the beats. You also have a little combo thing at the bottom. Again, not something I really want to spend a whole lot of time on. Now, as for the other thing we unlocked, we also got one-player hero mode. So let me just quickly set up a save file with that. Hero mode.
Oh, so you think you are ready to face the Kremling hordes, do you? You will need more than that flashy new costume to get you through this time. DK is taking a well-earned rest after cleaning up your mess. Don't expect any help from me either. I'm far too old to tag along with you. I wish you luck. You'll need it. Oh yes, next time you swap costumes, have a look in the mirror before leaving the shop. You look like a banana bird.
Hero mode, you are playing through the game again, this time as Yellow Diddy. There are no buddy barrels, so you have one hit, and you are playing as a character who cannot jump on certain enemies. And flat out can't defeat certain enemies in general either. Now, because several of the hidden cameras require Donkey Kong in order to get, there are no hidden cameras in this game. Your method of 100% completion is just finding all the bonus areas in a particular level. It's actually a great challenge, but again, this is just something that I'm going to show off that it exists because I've already played through the game, and hero mode is basically just playing it through again, except on a harder difficulty. Also, there are no checkpoints in any of these stages, so be aware of that. It's actually not anywhere near as hard as it sounds, because the game is so generous with extra lives that it's kind of like not a big deal, but it is still a spicier difficulty and a way of getting more playtime out of the game. And if you want, you can try and 100% the game a second time. I have done it before, and it's not that difficult. And finally, to close this episode off, we have a couple of extra things to see. First things first, we got a hidden camera from K Rool. And that hidden camera, if I can get to the page, just a nice little group shot of all the Kremlings. Cool. I do really like this scrapbook. I mean, sometimes the hidden cameras are a bit of a pain to find, but it's just nice to have the concept art for this game, even if it is concept art that is bit crushed to hell and back, and extremely pixelated looking. It's still cool. I think it's a nice little reward, even if it's not much. But yeah. And then the very last thing is that if we go back to Congo Jungle and back to Jungle Hijinks, we go into our banana horde, and it's full again. Well done. And yeah, that's pretty much it for Donkey Kong Country. Again, I really like this game, but even though I like it, the sequel's definitely improved on this game. They added more content. I'm partial to the second game, obviously, and I actually kind of really like 3, even though 3 has a lot of problems. maybe one day I'll do LPs of those, assuming that I can actually get them to, you know, get views and not get completely ignored like they usually do, but, we'll see. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this LP. My name is Zane, better known as the King Bahamut. I thank you for sticking with me through this revisit to a game that I'm personally quite fond of, and I will see you in the next episode. Take care. You know, after a long couple of months of hunting for bananas, I think it's time that I went back into my treehouse and took a nice long nap. What do you say? Let's go do that. The fuck were you doing in my room?